This is how you go to war. This is how you battle, you understand? Because at the end of the day, Ghana just held England, one of the most dominant teams in this World Cup, to a 0-0 draw. And it wasn't just a 0-0 draw, but this was a performance that was a stark contrast to the performance against Panama. In the Panama match, Ghana was just flaccid. Ghana was just insipid. The performance was poor. The performance was not great. But I really do not understand, or I really do not know where they got this performance from. But against England, this was battling. This was confidence. This was tenacity. This was capacity. This was the desire to want to die, the desire to want to run, the desire to want to put in the shift. And I can tell you confidently that the performance against England, notwithstanding the fact that we were in the low block, we were in the defensive shape, was a fantastic performance from the Black Stars compared to what we did or compared to what we witnessed against Panama. You know, in the 4-1-4-1 system that metamorphosized into a 4-5-1 system, the players were fantastic. I mean, on the day, every single player from Benjamin Asare to Jordan Ayew put in the shift. They put in the shift, they died, they sacrificed, because with majority of the time we didn't have the ball. And it is in these situations or in these moments that you get hurt, because the moment you are under pressure, the moment you are under so much pressure, and you are leaving spaces in behind your defensive lines, that is where the English national team will hurt you the most. But today, the team was composed defensively. I mean, the spine from the goalkeeping department to the central defensive pair to the midfield and the attacking department, the coordination was there. The idea, the intention of the players, everything was spot on. And I am very, very happy the players were able to interpret the role. The players were able to understand and appreciate the 4-1-4-1 system that metamorphosized into a 4-5-1 system. But you see, one critical aspect of this game was the fact that Benjamin Asare had a fantastic day. You know, the allegations against him, or the problems that people had with Benjamin Asare, is the fact that he hasn't kept post at the highest level, which to me is absurd, because for a player to be keeping the post for Hearts of Hope, one of the biggest clubs when it comes to African football, for him to be criticized based on the fact that he is not a European player, or is not a player playing in a European club, to me is a non-starter. And today he has justifiably justified the fact that even though he's not the number one currently, remember that prior to the World Cup, he was the first choice goalkeeper. Queiroz comes in and then prefers Atizigi. But today, Benjamin Asare has justified that the confidence that the technical team had in him. You know, if you look at the saves that he was able to make, if you look at his composure, if you look at his temerity, if you look at the way he was able to command the defense. And you know, one critical thing was the fact that in as much as he kept the post, his distribution was also good. You know, the way he was able to distribute the balls, the way he had confidence, the way he was able to arrange the back four. And see, kudos to Gideon Mensah. I mean, fantastic job. Fantastic job on Madike. Fantastic job from Senaya on Anthony Gordon, because those were the spaces where we thought we were going to have problem on the flanks, because the English have got so much pace, they've got so much streaky in Saka, in Anthony Gordon, in Madueke. But on the day, these two defenders, or these four defenders, the lateral defenders and the central defenders, did a fantastic job. You know, and one thing that really helped us was the fact that we understood that the English rely on spaces in behind the central defensive pair, or the spaces in behind the defensive shape and the defensive line. So today, the spaces were non-existent. The English could not tread a single true ball in 90 minutes. Yes, they were dominant. They had almost 80% of possession, but at the end of the day, nobody's going to talk about the possession at the end of the 90 minutes. It's about the scoreline and the fact that we were able to beat Panama. We've taken the point off England. That is going to build our confidence going into the final match against Croatia. Fantastic job by the boys. And you know, the criticism against Jordan Ayew, today he has proven that he's a top-notch striker. He's a top-notch footballer. He understands the game, because when it was time for him to hold the ball up, he did it fantastic. And when it was time for him to press, he knew where to press. He knew when not to press. Because remember, Jordan is no more a teenager or in his early 20s. He's now advanced in age, so he's not going to lead the press up as everybody was expected of him. But today, remember, we were not pressing high up the pitch. We had a medium press and a low block press, and Jordan led that press fantastically. So I would say that we did put in the work, and kudos to every single member of that team, especially Carlos Queiroz, because for Queiroz to have steadied the ship, for Queiroz to have devised a means, to stifle the attack of this English national team is a yeoman's job. Because prior to this game, I thought, from a tactical perspective, that it was going to be humiliating, that the English were going to annihilate us because of what we were able to do against Panama and what the English were also able to do against Croatia. But on the day, Carlos Queiroz understood the concept. We are not going to go toe-to-toe with England. That would have been suicidal, He understood that we don't have the quality. He understood that we cannot match the English toe-to-toe. So what did he do? He devised the tactics. He made the players understand and appreciate the tactics. They understood and they elaborately interpreted the rules that were given to them. Every single player fought with the ball, on the ball, and off the ball. The English, yes, they did what they had to do. They hoarded the ball, but they could not get the most important thing, which is the goals. Why were they not able to get the goals? Because the spaces were not there. They were shooting from long range because the spaces were not there. The central defensive pair of Opoku and Ajeke did a yeoman's job. Fantastic job. They were able to stifle this English national team. And another thing that really, really did make me happy was the fact that the few occasions where we had a threatening counter attack, we were able to progress the ball very well. But the only problem is the fact that we were not able to create any meaningful chances out of the few counter attack chances that we did create. And I think kudos to Thomas Partey, because with all the problems that he has had, and all the hula baloo as to whether he was going to be shaked, whether the English players were going to offer him a handshake or not, he did a fantastic job here. He had a good game. Yes, the distribution was not there. The ability to break up passes was not there. But on the day, he did a good job. But let's look at the English team tactically. They ended up in a 4-2-3-1 system. But the problem is the fact that they don't have that final passer. They don't have that player in the mode of Cole Palmer. Because at the end of the day, if you have a team like Ghana sitting deep, you need that creativity. Jude Bellingham is not going to give you that creativity. Henderson is not going to give you that creativity. Madueke is not going to give you that creativity. Harry Kane is not going to give you that creativity. Yes, Harry Kane is a good goal scorer. Harry Kane can spread the balls when he drops deep into midfield. But which player in that team is going to unlock low block defensive teams? They don't have that quality in this current squad. That is why people were upset, or that's why people criticized Thomas Tuchel when he did not call up Cole Palmer, because it got to a point where you needed a player who understands how to carve spaces from where there were no spaces. And none of the players had the quality, because if you look at someone like Jude Bellingham, a more of a box-to-box midfielder, you can tell me that Jude Bellingham is technically better or technically gifted than Cole Palmer. He is not. Yes, he has more physical attributes than Cole Palmer. But this is a game where you don't need physical attributes. This is a game where you don't need physical strength. This is a game where you need more technical abilities, how to unlock defenses. And this English team, they lack that. So it just tells you that when they face teams that are going to be in the low block, when they face teams that are drilled defensively, when they face teams that understand how to frustrate you, are they going to be able to create chances, or are they going to be able to, play like the way they did play? Because remember that Ghana is not the only team that's going to be a bit defensive against the English team, because they've got quality, they've got a serious attacking threat. So if a team understands that, oh no, we cannot go toe-to-toe with the English national team, then we have to be in the defensive setup. Does the English have the quality? Does the English have what it takes, the technical skill set it takes to unlock the defense? So if you realize critically, when it got to a point where they realized that they were not finding success through the middle, then they went to the flanks. But the flanks too, the boys did a fantastic job. Senaya did a fantastic job in the right back position. Gideon Mensah had a fantastic day at right back, and I think the players did do well. But on the whole, I would say that yes, we suffered, but in a tournament, especially the World Cup tournament, possession does not matter. The most important thing is that you get a point or you get a 3 points. And as we speak right now, Ghana has 4 points, and it looks good that we are going to qualify. If we are able to go into the match against Croatia with the intention of at least getting a point, because should we get a point against Croatia, it definitely going to get us into the round of 32. And I think great job to the technical team, great job to the players, great job to the supporters who were there, because this is a collective effort. This is a team's effort. So I would say that I am very happy as a pundit first and foremost, and as a Ghanaian. This is battling. This is a war that Ghana has gone into and won.